A very good morning to you all. This is part two of my response to GatvolCapetonian, the blatant attack on me in my personal capacity, albeit that GatvolCapetonian supposedly presents themselves as being a civic organization, an organization that stands up for the rights and interests of so-called colored people. However, it seems, and I want to reiterate this, that there's been a specific attack on me in my personal capacity, particularly by one of the three stooges, Fadil Adams. And one is to question, and what this video speaks to is it exposes exactly who GatvolCapetonian is, who their backers are, and what their strategy is. And you see, this is a very interesting thing about GatvolCapetonian, is that they claim to be an organization that is sick and tired of what the ANC as a black government is doing to so-called colored people. But yet, I mean, therein lies such deep-seated double standards. And the deep-seated double standards is because they are being led by the nose and directed by a handful of white people. White people are behind what they're doing, and these people are, I will prove, it's a joint between an organization called the Cape Party, and of course members of the Executive Council of the Cape Armed Forces Veterans, particularly their chairman, Warren Jones, who leads this, and another individual who shapes their policy. And I'll prove how this individual shapes their policy. A person by the name of Adrian Conradi, and I'll show you evidence of this, who GatvolCapetonian, in particular Fadil Adams, refers to as his personal friend. So, moving along, I think the most important thing for us to understand is the big picture. And we have to view the big picture in context, which is now being the strive for independence, quote unquote, by white people in South Africa has been accelerated because of the land appropriation without compensation. They realize, and this particularly the Afrikaner group, they realize that the only place that they can find what's Afrikaans word herberg, where they can find their lager, which is their culture. Afrikaners in particular are well aware that, and of course they're prepared for war. They've been preparing, and I'll give you evidence that they've been preparing for war since 1994, post 1994, the eventuality of war. They believe that there will indeed be a civil war in South Africa. They believe that it is their birthright, from a religious perspective, that they own the right to South Africa, that South Africa, by wherever they sucked this from, whoever's asshole they sucked this from, that God himself personally gave the land called South Africa to them as Afrikaners, as a gift, as they are special people, they're indeed people of God, and hence God has given them this land, and they are prepared to fight for this land. However, they understand they've got two major issues in terms of going to war in South Africa. Number one is the Zionist-controlled United Nations, which they're well aware of, will come and kick the living shit out of them within a day or two. So they won't go that route. Number two, the legality of it. In other words, if they were to engage in civil war, in direct civil war against the ANC government, which is a democratically elected government by the majority of people who by and large are black and are indigenous people to South Africa, that they would be seen to be another anti-black, anti-African, illegal war, and hence the United Nations will step in and beat the crap out of them. So they understand that. They understand and know that apartheid was a crime against humanity, is a crime against humanity, and what they're well aware of is that the proceeds of apartheid vis-a-vis the land that they're in possession of is then stolen land, is stolen goods. They're well aware of this. Of course, their psyche, they won't acknowledge that the land doesn't belong to them. They won't acknowledge that the land has been stolen. They won't acknowledge that their forefathers stole the land, and hence they're in possession of stolen goods, which must be inevitably returned to the people from where hence it came. So that's a given. So they understand clearly that they have to use a legitimate group who have a legitimate gripe against the ruling party vis-a-vis, namely the ANC. And the only group who are capable, legally, lawfully, genetically, scientifically, and otherwise, is so-called colored people. The progeny, direct descendants of Khoi and San people. However, this is for the benefit of Fadil, the stooge, Adams. From a historical point of view, these are the same people. These are the self-same people who claim, number one, that there was nobody there. They created the empty land myth, that when they came, there was a few strandlopers running around and the land was empty. And because the land was empty, unused, and not occupied, they proceeded to steal the land. The question we need to answer is that the legitimate people, the legitimate autochthonous descendants of Khoi and San, who are so-called colored people. 70% of all so-called colored people, by the way, are not mixed with white people at all. However, Fadil Adams, here's a little wake-up call for you. You, and I guarantee you, let's do a genome test of you. We will change your name from Fadil Adams to Fadil Bantu Adams. The very people that you supposedly hate so much, the very people that you claim are being racist towards so-called colored people, it is in your genome. So just to prove how confused, or supposedly confused, GatvolCapetonian is, they posted a few days ago, they posted this piece on June 14th, EFF and DA supporters calling for the murder of our farmers. Is this what you voted for, South Africans? Can you see why the Western Cape must become independent? I'll deal with the independent issue now in a minute, so that we can provide a safe haven for our farmers and other at-risk minorities on the subject of our farmers. Our farmers, as they're referring to, are the first individuals who stole the land from so-called colored people, the Khoi and San people in the Western Cape. The first farm that was stolen was Groot Constantia. Go and read the history. But let's talk about our farmers. That's very interesting. Our farmers are the same ones who, for the past 3.5 centuries, have fed our people and so-called colored people on a diet called the DOP system, which still proliferates up to this day, which as a direct result which of course Fadil, the Joker, the stooge, Adams doesn't understand, because he has no history, he has no intelligence except talking shit. Fetal alcohol syndrome, the highest incidence of fetal alcohol syndrome in the world. The global average is 0.011. In the Western Cape, among so-called colored people, the average is 12%. Now, this is 1,000 times more. If you can do the math, it's 1,000 times more than the global average. This is our farmers that GatvolCapetonian wants to defend. This is our farmers that they're referring to are in those individuals who have up to this day heavily oppressed, suppressed people working on their farms, paying them slave wages, and living under the most horrible conditions in terms of employment in the whole of South Africa. That is a given. These are our farmers that GatvolCapetonian wants to fight for and on their. And yet, here's the sad thing about GatvolCapetonian in terms of their horrible, wicked double standards. On June the 16th, they posted this thing about Ashley Creel, which, I mean, is just absolutely ridiculous, On June the 16th, I want to just read it to you if I can find it somewhere. Here we go. They claim, so while the rest of South Africa focuses on Soweto, we, the good folk of the Western Cape, remember our fallen hero Ashley Creel, who gave his life for the racist, oppressive ANC government. None of us knew that the ANC would become the new oppressors and begin to discriminate against our people. Blah, 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 blah. Now, first of all, Ashley Creel died in 1987 and had nothing to do with the 76 uprising. I was there. I was a 16-year-old. And this was even before, a year before Fidel Adams was born in 1977, a year after the uprising. So you were still pissing in your pants, going goo goo gaga when we were busy fighting the uprising. In fact, these are the people. Here's a list of the people that were killed during the 76 uprising. And as you can see, there's their names. And you claiming that the ANC criminals are spitting on the grave of Ashley Creel. Let me tell you who were those people who actually killed our people. The list of people. And this is your friends. This is your friends at the Western Cape. The Western... I mean, this is just hilarious. The horrible double standards these people stand from. Where these people come from. The Western Cape Armed Forces veterans, which I'll read to you. The Western Cape Armed Forces Veteran Group is to acknowledge our brothers and sisters who are residents of the Western Cape and were part of the armed forces during the period 1966 to 1994. And this will include all sectors of the SADF and South African Police. Now, who did these people kill? This wasn't the ANC that was killing our people. The ANC never killed Ashley Creel. The ANC never killed Anton Franz. The ANC never killed Robbie and Colleen. The ANC never killed these people. The ANC never killed the Gugulethu 7. The ANC never kill Solomon Mhlangu. The ANC never engaged in the Trojan Horse massacre. But you see, because Fidel Adams and the other stooges of GatvolCapetonian don't understand history or refuse to acknowledge the truth of history, and at the beck and call of their white masters and their paymasters wish to re-engineer history so that we can believe that whites weren't responsible for the wholesale murder for more than three and a half centuries, 350 years of our people. Theft, rape, torture, oppression, suppression, arrested development, every of those ills that Fidel complains that the ANC has created was created by the same people that support and endorse him. The same people that has promised him money, which I'll prove in a minute. These are the same people that pays him to believe and to re-engineer history and the truth of the situation, that it's the ANC is to blame for the situation. Did the ANC build ghettos such as Manenberg, Steenberg, where you from, Fadil, Lavender Hill, where you from, Fadil, the Kakyard, Gugulethu, Mitchell's Plain? The ANC never built those ghettos. Those ghettos were built by the same people that are paying your stupid behind to foment this war that they are planning and that you are assisting them to do. So just to reiterate, in part 3, I will expose exactly who it is, what they're about, what their aim is, what their strategy is. And just to give you a little teaser to it, the strategy is very simple, and that's why the first thing that people such as GatvolCapetonian is upset about is claiming they want an independent state in the Western Cape. They're not political. They're not political because they say a good politician is a dead politician. They claim not to be political. An independent state is a matter of politics. So it just shows you the double standard, stupidly, of course. So the teaser is this. They plan to have an independent state where so-called colored people can express themselves freely. So-called colored people who are a minority, However, so-called colored people are a majority in the Western Cape. The overwhelming majority, maybe 48% of the electorate. And that blacks, as they put it in their context, blacks are 36% of the electorate. You can already see that what their game is. And the game is very simple. They know that other than a flat-out civil war in which they, and talking about white people in the Western Cape, will suffer as well. They want a low-impact war, which is focused in the townships between black people and so-called colored people. Because legally, if they achieve a 51% victory at the elections, they can call for a successful succession and hence an independent state. So now listen carefully, they don't want a war, a flat-out civil war. They want a war that's confined to the ghetto, a war that's confined to Khayelitsha Mitchell's Plain, Nyanga, Guguletu, Manenberg, Bonteheuwel, etc. This is the war that's going to come. I've been warning people about this war. I've been warning people this is going to happen. And this is what this Fadil Adams, this Ibrahim Davids, and the other stooge are fronting on behalf of people who have been training for war. And they are busy training our people for war as we speak. That will come in part 3. Just on a short note, I'd like to bring to your attention, particularly those people that watch this, and particularly those people that understand the real history of the Western Cape and the real history of what Afrikaners post-1948 did and what they're responsible for, what they were and what they are responsible for. You just a few things. And we mustn't lose sight of this. We must never lose sight of this. Number one, that the Afrikaners, the Afrikaner government, who are the same people that are now behind and supporting GatvolCapetown, were the ones who engaged in kicking out people, so-called colored people from District 6, from Constantia, from Steenberg, in the northern version of Steenberg, Tokai, and all other so-called areas which became white areas, under the Act, the Group Areas Act. These were the same people. The same people who now have created as labor dormitories areas such as the Cape Flats, was created as labor dormitories. Classic case is Atlantis. Go to Atlantis and see the labor dormitory that was created by these same South people, the same people that are supporting this, the Joker's GatvolCapetonian. Just two. Fadil, as we know, is a self-professed drug addict, and he claims how the government wants it to be. So let me just school you and teach you the history, and go and Google this if you can. Google Project Coast. Project Coast was a surreptitious organization, a very wicked, evil, and scientific organization, a laboratory which was run by Dr. Wouter Basson, aka Dr. Death, which was under the tutelage and under the management of Constant Viljoen, who is still alive and kicking in South Africa. And these people fomented the drug trade as you see it in South Africa today. Started with Mandrax, and gave it out and distributed it free in the colored community. Go and check the history. So you on drugs as a direct result of what will happen at Project Coast. That is what they designed the drug. They started the drug trade in the Western Cape. These are the same people that's supporting you, but yet you blame the ANC government for that. There's no love lost between the ANC and myself, but you need to know, we need to understand the truth for what it is. Second, Wouter Basson created antigens, which was released into the water supply of so-called colored people, which stopped the medication of when people were getting asthma and tuberculosis. Now, so no matter what medication you took, the TB, the strain of TB that you were getting, your antigens in your body could not fight the TB, the TB issue, could not fight against asthma. And when you look today in the year 2018, Fadil, 2018, that the highest incidence of the highest mortality incidence in the world, in fact 36%, listen to this number, this is so tragic. These are the same people that you claim love you and support you, the minorities, at-risk minority, that today 36% of the global incident of mortality for TB, for asthma, occur only in the so-called colored community in the Western Cape. How does that blow your hair back? And if you were to take all of the TB deaths on planet Earth, imagine that 36% come from one of the smallest groups on planet Earth, less than 4 million, 5 million people. I thank you once again for listening and hope and watching and spending the time in the data. I really appreciate it. Perhaps now you can see what is at stake here. And I look forward to sharing part 3. Thank you. Have a fantastic and illuminating